These are the key interview tips that you need to know if you want to get more job offers. And the first one is that every single interaction you have with anybody in that company is an interview, even if they tell you it's not. Even if it's just grabbing lunch with someone on the team to get more information about the job. So what that means is you should not be asking any questions that would potentially show disinterest in the company or the role. So until you get a job offer from them, you should not be asking questions like, how long does it take to get a promotion? What is the internal mobility process like? What are the odds that I get to manage people very soon? Even if these questions are super critical to knowing whether or not you would accept the job, you don't need to ask them until you get the job offer, because you don't want any chances of them thinking you are not interested in that role, or that this is just a stepping stone opportunity and they'd rather hire someone else who actually wants the job. The second tip is that if you are interviewing for jobs in highly competitive markets, this is jobs that are based in any of the major US cities, any job that is fully remote, or any job that is for one of the top companies in whatever industry, your competition is super high. This means that your interview answers cannot be average. Your interview answers need to be the best answers out of every single candidate that this company is interviewing right now. In order to stand out from all of the rest, you need to make sure your interview answers can demonstrate one or two key differentiators about you. These are your secret sauce, or these are the things that only you have done, accomplished, or can bring to the team. You need to be focusing on the business impact you had, or the complexity of the problem that you solved, or the scale at which you solved a problem or presented a solution. If you want help identifying these, sign up for a free 30-minute strategy session with me at CareerShakers.com. The next interview tip is that you need to make sure you have the full context about the job beyond the job description so that you can better answer all the interview questions. So you're going to want to make sure you get the full context on the position from the hiring manager or the recruiter before you answer any interview questions. This way you can customize and tailor your experience, your examples, and your answers to show them that you are the perfect fit for the job. In order to do this, you're going to want to ask what are the immediate projects this person would be working on, or what are some of the current skills that the existing team doesn't quite have, or why this job is potentially open. Next, make sure you have memorized and know the best answers for all of the most common interview questions that you will get, like tell me about yourself, or what is your greatest weakness, or tell me about a time you had a conflict with a coworker and how you managed it. And if you're not sure how to answer these super common interview questions, make sure you watch my interview playlist right over here. The next tip is that most companies will not give you any direct feedback about your interviews when you are rejected. So the only way to know how to get better and what you did wrong is for you to document all of the interview questions that you were asked and to write down what answers you gave during those interviews. Then if you are rejected after a certain round, you'll have a general idea of which questions you got wrong based on the interview that you did last. Also, by writing down all of the interview questions that you get from all the different companies, you're going to build up a really good interview question bank, which is perfect for you to practice. That way, you'll never run into an interview and get asked a question that you weren't prepared for. The next interview tip, if you want more job offers, is don't be afraid to move your interview a few days if you are not ready. A lot of people are afraid to reschedule the interview if they know they didn't have enough time to prepare because they're worried that the company will feel that they are not interested, or that the company will know that they aren't ready and it's a red flag for them. But in actuality, moving your interview 1 or 2 business days is not a big deal. And you can just use a really good excuse so the company doesn't even realize it. You can say that you are working late on another key project for your current team and you need a few more days. This is a really good excuse because they're obviously going to want to hire someone who is a high and top performer. So by telling them that you are working on a critical project for your current team and you want to make a really good impression and that's why you want to move the interview, it can't be something that will hurt your candidacy. The next tip is don't read off your notes when you are in an interview, even if you're on a video interview. Do not be reading notes on your screen. And if you are in person and you have your notepad with you, make sure that on your notepad, the interviewer cannot see what notes you have or your examples. Turn it to a brand new blank page and just say that you're going to use the notepad to take notes. Now, if you do need to refresh your memory on some key examples or things that you want to share, look at your notes in between interviews, not when you're actually in it. And if you are doing a video interview, you can use a trick here where you just put a little post-it note right below your camera that only has a few notes on it. That way it'll look like you're still looking at the camera, but your eyes won't be shifting around too much, so they won't know if you're reading notes or not. Next, make sure you aren't sharing the same example multiple times during your interviews. I know people think that it's a different person and they're never going to know if I've shared an example before, but trust me, all the interviewers will be taking notes, and especially if your example is really good, they're going to be talking amongst each other, saying how great of an example this was, and then they're going to find out that you used the same one. That's why it's also helpful to review your notes in between the interviews and mark off the examples or projects you've already shared so you don't repeat yourself. Next, how you say and deliver your interview answers are just as important as the words that you choose to say. So make sure that you speak with confidence, and the easiest way to do that is to not talk in questions. And make sure you smile, because it's going to show them that you are confident and you are comfortable. Now you know all the key interview tips to get the job, but if I missed any key tips, why don't you put that down in the comments and I will pin it so that the audience can see what other advice there is so that everyone can pass and ace more interviews. Thank you all for watching, and don't be afraid to shake things up.